Alright, welcome back to the Legends Comic Corner Classics, Legends Known Classics. This is episode number 1547 and Doubleshot number 1441. I have an IDW trade and a DC trade. This one, first one's from the library, second one I own. Alright, first up is Doctor Who Classics. Yep. Yeah, this pretty much reprints old Doctor Who stories published back in the late 70s when it was published by Marvel Comics. Yes, Marvel Comics, as far as I can tell, was the first company to get the license for Doctor Who. Yeah, this is during a period of time when Doctor Who at one point was part of the Marvel Universe, but then later on they were pretty much put into a different universe. Now, there are only two writers for this one. You have, actually three. You have Pat Mills and John Wagner and Steve Moore. The artwork in this book is done by Dave Gibbons. A lot of people familiar with that guy. Artist behind The Watchmen. The original edits, they say the original edits of this book is by two people I don't really know. The cover art here is done by Chris Morey. Yeah, this action is one of the stories, and if you're curious though, no, there's no duplicate, basically, Doctor in here. And as to the cover, these are stories featuring Tom Baker. Yep. Or he just basically just does random things in here, like run into the frickin' Daleks, and then the Centaurans, a group of aliens he only encountered twice in his whole original era. Yeah, twice. I would probably say this is probably after he met up with them in Invasion of Time. Now, who is the companion here? Is it Romana? Nope, not Romana. I would say this is between some certain companions. Yes. Now, this could be, well, it's some African American woman with this weird looking afro. Yeah, I don't remember her name. Let's see. I don't know what her name is because, well, Kanon's here, obviously. Oh, her name is Sharon. Okay, Sharon. Not really a lot of stuff to say here. Just old, goofy Doctor Who stuff. The art, I gotta say, the coloring here is really good on the part of basically IDW restoring the original colors for this comic book for a book that came out roughly about 40 years ago. And this is when IDW did have rights to publish Doctor Who. They don't anymore. Nope. The current company published it is Titan Books. Yep. They got a license for some reason. I'm not really sure why they lost a license. If I get a chance to see some doc from IDW, I'm going to answer that question. Why the heck did they lose a license in the first place? I mean, this probably introduced a lot of American readers to basically the Doctor Who comic books. When people think of Doctor Who, people think of the TV show. Not the comic very much, surprisingly. I mean, in the case of Star Trek, people do know about the comic for that one. Probably because IDW basically made humongously popular for comic readers. Yeah, their Star Trek comics are amazing. But this is actually pretty good. I give this book a 10 out of 10. Now, in the case of what Doctor Who comics they have published, that are theirs per se, the only one I can think of that comes to mind is the crossover with Next Generation. Excuse me, which is done by David and Scott Tipton. Aside from that, they have published a few Doctor Who comics here and there. It's almost like IDW just didn't know what to do with the Doctor Who imprint. Mostly, I think they got just so they can print the classic stuff. That's probably my guess anyways. But not much else to hope when it comes to that. Next up it is Showcase presents Batgirl Volume 1. And that's the only one they published. Now, you're probably thinking, Nick, where the heck did you get this damn thing? Amazon. Yep, I saw it on Amazon for a good price. Got it. Now, this is basically the first several years of Barbara Gordon's career as Batgirl from the years of 1967 to 1975. Now, this is not the complete solo adventures of the Bronze Age of her adventures in the Bronze Age. No, for some reason they didn't bother to finish collecting this stuff. Nope, they never did. This is what the book collects. We have stories from the Tet Comics issues 359, 363, 369, 371, 384, 385, 388, 389, 392, 393, 396, 397, 400, 401, 404 to 424, Batman 197, 214, Willis Finest 169, 176, Just Like America 60, Brave and Bold 78, which is also the debut of Copperhead. Yes, Copperhead, the same character who popped up in Batman Arkham Origins. That one's a female, this is the original version. Adventure Comics 381, Superman 268, 279, and Superman Family 71. Wow, that's a lot of comics. Now, thing with Barbara Gordon's her first appearance, the $1 million debut of Batgirl, which, yeah, she makes her debut on the cover. Meet the new Batgirl. Yep. Now, when people think of Batgirl, people think of Barbara Gordon first. Not Batty Kane. This one. And this was her costume. From what I can tell from covers I've seen of Barbara Gordon when she was Batgirl, from this point up until around her special published in the early 80s, she mostly had the same costume color design. From what I can tell, she never changed her costume design at all. Nope. And here are your writers for these issues, and it's a good amount. We have Gardner Fox. Yep, he's the one who created her. Yeah, Gardner Fox created a lot of characters. Like, if you see his character creator list, you can kind of think of Gardner Fox as DC's version of Stan Lee on how much this man created for DC Comics. If it wasn't basically, like, these big characters, he had no hand creating them. Batman, Superman, Robin. Let's see. There was also Aquaman, Green Arrow. I believe also the original Green Lantern. But a lot of really other heroes, like a lot of their big ones, like let's say, I don't think he had a hand in I think he did create Barry on Flash. He created Hawkman, and he created the original Flash. Not the Barry on Flash as Robert Canary, Carmen Infantino. But yes, I would probably say from the golden age of comics up until the 1970s, I would say a good about 50% of the known characters in DC Universe were created by one of these one people. Gardner Fox, Robert Kaniger, or even Denny O'Neil had a hand in a lot of these characters. Usually, like, one of these three guys got a chance to write these characters, which is so amazing. And we also had, well, Gardner Fox to start with, obviously. And then we had Kurt. We had Carrie Bates. Yep, Carrie Bates. In most ways with Carrie Bates and Gardner Fox, right away, you have Mike Swolowski. Let's see. Bob Haney, Mike Frederick, Frank Ribbons. Let's see. Was there anybody else? Gil Kane doing a lot of the artwork. He's a really good artist. I don't think he's still alive anymore. No, I don't think so. Let's see. Frank Ribbons wrote a lot of these stories. I would say the first one he did not do out of all of these. The only one he did not do was the issue from Superman 269, 268, 279 Superman, and Superman Family 171 were not done by him at all. That was done by Elliot S. Morgan. I believe this guy is still alive. I'm not sure. Mostly put this cover as about 8 years of Batgirl's career. At first you read this, she's basically treated as a guest star character. And then eventually she gets her own spotlight feature in Detective Comics, which she basically, from what I can tell, even basically about reading some of the Robin stuff, she basically swapped issues with Robin. Like, one issue had her as back a feature for an issue or two, and the next issue had Robin. This went on for quite a while. And then by 424, it stopped, and then was resumed again a little bit later on, about a few years later. And, well, this is after they wrapped up the Batman Family series, where she was in the book for quite a while. And then she retired. She basically, her last special appearance as Batgirl, that was not part of some reboot like they would in 52, was basically the Batgirl special. That was officially Barbara Gordon's last time she basically wore the costume. The only times after that you see her wearing the costume was basically illusions, alternate counterparts, or flashbacks. But that was her last appearance for quite some time, up until she basically won the costume in 2011. These are all really good classic issues. Heck, one issue takes on Queen Bee of all people. Yes. And I should point this out, though. Her first villain she fought is Killer Moth. They kept this comic with here. This basically something Gardner Fox started, and something that apparently the I think it was Gail Simone who was Gail Simone was the writer of Batgirl in the Volume 4 run, where they kept Killer Moth as the first villain she originally fought in comics. That was the one part of her they kept canon for decades. The fact that was the first villain she fought as Batgirl in comics. In, let's just say, in Batman and Robin, and in the Batman series, her first villain she fought is Poison Ivy. No idea. Well, in the case of what happened with Poison Ivy, because they didn't want Batman hitting a woman. In the case of the other one, because they're basically on the same age. That's really the reason for that. And here's a little fun fact for you. Has Barbara Gordon always been a redhead? From what I can tell, yes, she has always been a redhead. At first, her father, Commissioner Gordon, was not traditionally a redhead. He was mostly picked with white hair. And then later on, they made his hair red, just to match the fact that Barbara Gordon is his daughter. This of course, is Earth 1 Batgirl, where she definitely is his daughter. This will last up into the Flashpoint reboot, where they retconned it, where she was technically not his daughter, but his niece. But they later had it where he adopted her after his brother passed away, Thomas Gordon. Yes, his brother's name was Thomas Gordon. After his brother and his wife passed away, he adopted her, and she was still technically the daughter of Commissioner Gordon, but she was adopted. And this lasts up until the Flash reboot, where they pretty much restored her to being the biological daughter of Jim Gordon. So they went back to this, which I gotta admit, that actually was a really smart move on the part of DC to do, because make it so that she was adopted by Jim Gordon instead of being his actual daughter was probably not a good move with people who are fans of Barbara Gordon. But I do appreciate Gilson for basically restoring that part of her. In these stories here, mostly just have her fighting various villains, and then in later stories, they have her become a congresswoman. Yes, a congresswoman. They actually had one of the issues of Superman that Superman appears in here actually has them make a stop in DC just so they could deal with Batgirl, which, I gotta admit, that was a smart move. How long was she commissioner? From what I can tell from the stories, she was commissioner for about 10 years. And, then, of course, she stepped down because she probably had enough. And also in these stories, we get used to Jason Bard. Pretty much her first, one of her earliest love interests, aside from Dick Grayson, who basically the current writer says I have her date saved for some reason. Yes, and Jason Bard himself, basically, like, when they brought him post-Flashpoint, they kept the fact he was a PI, except he hated modern-day technology. Yes, that's the way, I think it was either Gail Simone or one of the writers did that to him. Maybe James Robinson, I'm not really sure, but yeah, he hates modern-day technology. He's basically not tech-savvy, as some other people are. Barbara Gordon herself has got no problem with technology, as she was Oracle that period of time. And yes, she also gets to cover Catwoman here. Let's see if I can find him here. Jason Bard. The only reason why I think they had her become a congresswoman because it was late 70s. So they had her basically mid-70s because they probably had to have to deal with social issues, which is something that the Robin book basically did too. Which, yeah, so it wasn't the only book to do with. I'm going to try to see if I can find Jason Bard. Even though it's in black and white, I'm going to try to show off what he actually looked like. okay, this here, where my finger is, that's Jason Bard. Yep, that's him. That's the way he was originally drawn back in the late in the mid 70s. I gotta say, the stories in here are really good. I give this book a 10 out of 10. It's really good. I love reading these showcase books. I love the black. I don't mind the fact it's black and white, but you get a chance to read this really good stuff here. I kind of wish, because DC pretty much ended this back in 2015 of all things. Yes, they ended this roughly 6 years ago. I mean, can you believe it's been 6 years since the end of this line of graphic novels? They placed these with these Silver Age books that are a bit more expensive. I think they're about $30 per se. But as far as I can tell, there's not really explained reason of why that they're like this. It's just that they are. I kind of wish that this particular series, that Batgirl would get this treatment. I know the Suicide Squad's got one of these. So it's Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman. The Justice League basically has got one of these too. I kind of wish Batgirl got one, because there's still plenty of stories you can basically put in trade paperback. But it all depends upon DC what they want to do with the character, okay? So yeah, that's a particular review. All we're ready to do, and that's probably going to be it for today, okay? Next video. Bye.